Hey everyone, how you doing today? Thought I'd show you an update on this Skaar SV I yet have to name, but I'm thinking like Hornet or Wasp or something like that for it. But I got this thing totally done now. In fact, shortly after doing this video, I'm going to get it up to the challenge this month for the Anvil SV challenge to build a POI combat SV, and that's kind of what this one's for. I do appreciate all the comments about RE2 specs and things like that on the last video too. There's a lot to read there and take in. The general idea I've got is, if there's a couple different ways of thinking about builds. There's a lot of people that do like the engineering aspect and being tight on CPU. I do enjoy that too. But then there's another whole group of people that they want to be more creative, and they come up with some crazy idea like, I want to build this giant HV that's a platform hangar and a base, and it does mining and it does all this other stuff. I mean, that's really fun to be able to think up something crazy like that and do it too, and have it work in game. So I mean, there's a couple different avenues of to look at it. Personally, I don't know if this is possible, but the best solution I think would be if there was some kind of option in Reforged Eden 2, maybe in game settings, or something like that. Maybe it's tied to the difficulty level. But it would be really neat if there was a mode of RE2 that would, say, give you 50% more CPU for your CPU blocks, or 100% more, or like a little bar, so you could play it like how it was meant to be played at the CPU ratings that are currently set. And they're in fluctuation as well. A lot of people did bring up that, hey, this is a work in progress. It's getting tweaked and homed in on. And I understand that. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of things to think about and do that. A lot of feedback and things like that. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to think about it too. I mean, I really appreciate the RE developers, RE2, RE developers. It's awesome what they're doing for the community and for the game itself. It's and they're going for a little bit more of a hardcore gameplay, especially with Reforged Eden. Now there's Project Eden as well. Maybe that's kind of what I'm actually thinking about. I think they have relatively the same amount of parts. I'm just so totally used to Reforged Eden that I never really got into the Project Eden because that was a little closer to vanilla. So that's interesting. It's something I really ought to educate myself a little bit more on how that works out with CPU in Project Eden and what are the differences between the two games there. Reforged Eden is probably the more popular one as far as I know. Basically, I just think it would be really cool if there was some kind of option where you could go crazy and build the crazy ideas you got, on a creative standpoint, but at the same time, I don't want to like say, hey, we got to dumb everything down so it doesn't matter about all the tech specs and how accurate you are with building and watching your numbers and all that stuff. Because both of them are cool in their own way. It's just how do you get them both to work together? I don't want people to abandon creativity over tech specs, but at the same time, the tech specs are really cool as well, and probably better actually for gameplay. So I mean, yeah, it's a rough one. If anybody's got any ideas on how to go about that, I mean, my best idea, and I don't know how this would work out. If say there was a difficulty slider on like Reforged Eden 2, or some kind of slide bar where you could adjust a setting, and maybe there's a setting that keeps all the enemy difficulty the same and all that, so you're playing the same game. The only real difference is like all your CPU values get like 50% more CPU, or maybe another mode with 100% more. Like if you suddenly had twice as much CPU to work with on a build that you're doing, you could go a lot more crazy with that build. Granted, it would make the game easier, but it's part of the difficulty settings. You can figure the game how you want to play it. Some people want the hardcore stuff, which can be fun. If you're just the game's easy peasy and you're just getting through it like butter, well, that gets boring too, because and then it's like, wow, this is too easy, and you want more of a challenge. So I mean, I'm just trying to think, of just going with options and have everybody very happy about it. No matter what angle you're coming from the creative side or from the engineering side, everybody's happy, and I think that would be just wonderful. I mean, that's I can't think of a better solution than that, because they're always going to be at odds with each other. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, enough with that. I wanted to talk about this little guy here, and I'm actually very pleased with the ship at this point in time. I know I was kind of groggy with it last time, and kind of annoyed. But once I got it done, I made a lot of changes since the last video as well. So to start with on the changes, I ended up redoing the storage system and the interior. I did make the ship one block longer. I actually cut it around here and moved the whole bridge area or the cockpit area forward a block. And I did that so I could get another block row of room on the interior. So then I did that so I could wall this off behind the utility function here. And I also got rid of the ammo controller back over here as well. So now there is a steel wall behind all this. Now before, last time I showed it, it didn't have any room for that, and it was like this really low hit point stuff straight into where you were supposed to put the warp drive. And I also had you remove the trauma station so you could get in there to actually place a warp drive on the inside. So I changed that around, and I added another access door to here up on the top here. So out of God mode, you can literally, in gameplay, you can literally, I think I'm stuck in the block. Hold on a second here. You can literally walk or fall down in here. And inside, you have all the same part placements. So you can add a little hard to see unless I crouch maybe. But you can add a superior core over here. There's another location right up here for a superior core. And then you still got that 1x3 generator you can add in. And then, of course, a warp drive in here too. So you would have to kind of get yourself out of here first before placing that warp drive. But yeah, you can do that. So it's got all the same upgrade options and parts and things like that. It's more secure. It's got a steel wall blocking the back off from the inside this time. The core is probably a little bit more secure yet. It's actually like another block back from the front, and you're kind of in the middle of the creation, so there's no weak points on any side of it. So I took the ammo control and I ended up putting it here instead, which is kind of an out-of-the-way place, sort of-ish. I'm hoping to stay safe there, but it's still the same 8K ammo bay. Now, I could have added more ammo to the ship, but I was really trying to keep this one light, and I didn't want people to be like overfilling it with ammo where the specs fall apart and things like that on it. Now, with doing a couple other things too, when I did stretch this ship out a little bit, by only one block, I also rearranged a couple thrusters. Like this one used to be equivalent in this location. Here, I'll get the HUD on again. In this location here, and after I copied and pasted it, put it here, and then I moved it again forward a little bit. And I think the same thing happened with these thrusters down over here. But basically what I'm getting at is I was pleasantly surprised after even adding a couple more parts to the ship, including a box and an armor locker on the back. It actually got a little bit better with his stats on top of it. So I do have 4 launchers on here right now and 2 of the turrets. So it's using all the CPU. But when all that's said and done, it's now hitting 85 forward, 85 strafing, 93 on the yaw, 53 lift, 85 reverse, and 24 down. So the roll went up, and the yaw went up as well. The pitch it might have dropped a couple points on the pitch, but honestly, I don't care about the pitch. So my strategy with using this in game, and I definitely I do intend on using this in game here on a Reforged Eden 2 play through, is this is all built around attacking POI. So let's say that's a POI. You got a lot of strafing. You can get around it pretty good. The pitch isn't crazy, so you're not jumping around. You got kind of a pretty smooth aiming, but you can also dodge and get out of the way pretty quickly too in turn sharp. So It's kind of neat that way because it actually, you know, if you're aiming at it like a turret, right where about the crosshair is, you can accurately aim at that pretty good. Also, a big factor, I think, it'd just be a pilot thing on this ship. Um, Say your shield's about ready to go out and you're near the POI and stuff's flying at you. With this ship, it's the same speed forward or reverse. So I would definitely not try to turn around and run away from the POI. I would back away from the POI so you can see the projectiles coming in. You might even be able to strafe out of the way of a couple of those maybe, or even try to shoot them down. I noticed some projectiles you can shoot out of the air, but basically I don't want the back of the ship, although it's more secure than it was before. I wouldn't want it, you know, getting hit in the back. You can't even see what's coming at you in the back, at least if you're flying in first person. Even third person, you'd have to be kind of scrolled out further with it like this to get an idea on what's trying to hit you, and then it's difficult. So basically, I would just say for piloting purposes, wrong button again. It would be better to back away from your target. But of course, as a pilot, you don't want to back over another POI and then get blown up from the other side. That'd be a tragic mistake. But other than that, yeah, I'm actually pretty happy on how this thing works at this point. So I'm not sure if I went over the rest of the numbers here or not yet. Hour and 22-minute build time. Still taking the same 580 on Estrum and Zacosium. So pretty much all the same build cost and everything like that. The stats went up slightly. And believe it or not, I actually added more steel blocks to this build over where it was. So it's actually a little bit heavier than what it was. And not to mention an armor locker in a little box. And the CPU is, you know, a Core 7 build. It's right up there. I found an error on the last build too. On the inside, I had a couple disconnected cargo extensions when I showed it, and that's why the CPU went up a little bit, not by much. I think it only had 7 left over. Now it has 11 left over, despite adding an armor locker and a box to it. So, yeah, just all around, I think it's ready to go. I can't think of anything else. I did fly this around testing charging the shield while doing 3-direction flight. That's all cool. It doesn't overtax the 2 1x3 power generators that are already in the ship. And oh yes, last but not least here, I'm not going to have any guns on it when you first get it, so let me just pull these off. Another comment that was brought up too, saying that with a SV you definitely want a turret on it. Otherwise, you know, if you're using it to attack POIs, then you enter the POI. Often what will happen is drones come by and they'll blow your SV up when it's parked outside of the POI when you're shooting stuff inside the POI. I lost a lot of SVs to that when I started playing this game, and yeah, that is a very good point. I wouldn't want to configure it with just 6 launchers at this point myself. I would definitely probably go with a 4 launcher setup and the 2 turrets on here. It doesn't matter which way you go. You can add 6 light weapons to it in your coolest CPU. If you want to put on more stuff, you need to add in those superior cores, basically, and then you can add in a couple more light weapons and you know, or tier 2 stuff. Well, however you want to do it, or a warp drive, or tier 2 and a warp drive. I don't know. There's a lot of options. You can figure out how you want it, and I think that's the best way to go anyway. I used to have all the builds kind of come stock with their weapons, but now there's more options with guns than ever. Different ways to configure things. Different people want to do different things, and it might make a difference on what you're fighting too. So yeah, it's just probably a best policy to just leave them off and let people customize the ship how they want to do it, and then you don't have to pay for, like, if I had this all equipped with these plasma cannons, but you wanted to use lasers and missiles, while you're paying for all the plasma cannons, whether you want them or not, if they're on the build already. So this way you're not, and it's cheaper. So all around a good thing. Without the guns on here, of course, the guns all weigh, so the stats do go up even more. So now you're 108 on the main directions and 101 on your yaw. So it's a really pretty quick thing. So this is what it's going to look like when I actually get it to the workshop. So it'll be about an hour and 15-minute build time on this one. Other than that, please let me know if you got any other, if I'm missing something or something like that. Other than that, I'll get it out posted for the challenge here today yet, probably an hour or two from now, though. I did want to go get some lunch and stuff. But other than that, y'all have yourself a great day, and I will talk to you later.